All right, welcome back everyone to another video. Today we're gonna get a behind the scenes look at all things marketing for my own private practice. You're gonna find out how we do lead generation, how clients find us in the first place, all the way through, I should say potential clients, how they become clients or don't. But you're gonna get a look at the entire journey. You're gonna get a look at all the marketing that we do currently, why we do it, how we do it. And the whole hope is here that you will be empowered with the knowledge to do the marketing in your practice. Or if you do want to hire marketing help, you know what you're asking for. All right, so that's what we're going to dive into today. And as always, it's raw, it's behind the scenes, it's uncut. So there's no intro. Let's just jump right into it. Now, when I first started my private practice, I had a very simplified view of what marketing meant as a therapy practice owner. I thought you listed on a directory, Psychology Today, maybe Alma, a few others, maybe, and you did the best you could to write their profile. A client would reach out, you'd maybe coordinate a free consult, or you would coordinate that free consult, and then if they want to schedule and you feel like it's a good fit, you move forward. The problem with this, well, there's a lot of problems with this. Number one, it's really simplified. Number two, it leaves you at the mercy of a directory. And we all know these directories ebb and flow. In, some days we get, or some months we get a lot of referrals, some months we get none. And we don't want to be at the mercy of one directory. That is for sure. Not to mention, there are so many other strategies, tools, and tactics we can implement when it comes to marketing. We can even break down marketing into different categories. And that's what we're going to do today. And the first category that we have to talk about is lead generation. In other words, how do we get prospective clients to find our practice, right? And so this is what I want to talk about first. Now I'm trying a new camera angle here. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Now we have a problem. I'm a lefty, so I might block the view. But let's just, for today's video, bear with me, okay? So we're gonna and I'm not a good writer or drawer. Do you say drawer? Is that how you say it? We're gonna do right here. We have our practice, right? So we're gonna have our practice, and I promise I don't hold a pencil like this. This is ridiculous. So high up, right? I hold it like this. All right. So we have our practice, and let's say it exists. Actually, can you even see this? Let's get a little bit bigger. Oh no, I'm messing up the screen. Bear with me. I don't want to restart the video. Oh no, I messed it up again. Bear with me. No, I messed it up. Oh my gosh. Give me 1 second, folks. Give me 1 second. All right, much better. We're back. This is now more zoomed in. All right, so we have our practice, right? Here we are. We exist, but no one else knows we exist. And so what exactly is lead generation? You know what would be really cool? Let me put my head. Wow, look at that. So what exactly is lead generation? Lead generation, simply put, is basically putting out different points of contact where clients can find us, okay? In some regard, we're putting out our tentacles to let people know we exist. An example of one that we all know is Psychology Today, right? So maybe we put a profile on Psychology Today, and that becomes a touch point for a client, right? Someone's looking for a therapist, they search a therapist on Psychology Today, they find you, and boom, now they're in contact with our practice. That's called lead generation, right? Now we can make this a bigger category of just, what was that? Of directories, right? So let's just call these directory or directories, right? We have those here. What are some other things that we can do to generate leads? A lot of people like to try for SEO, search engine optimization. That's another one. We have Google My Business, right? This kind, and you see the point. So lead generation is essentially having different places where clients will find us and they'll know that we exist, and hopefully they'll know what we do. Now, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into lead generation, okay? Now, what I want to do is actually give you an example from my own practice, our current strategies. Now, this changes over time, okay? It changes, we have to update it, we're always making changes. But for now, let me give you a look into what our current strategy is, okay? So we're going to have right here, let's have, our practice, let's just call it that. Now, one of our strategies is absolutely going to be directories, okay? This is not a shock. Why is that? That's because they do work quite well. They do ebb and flow. They're a bit unpredictable, but directories are a consistent source of referrals. The other thing you need to do is keep track of the data. I want you to know how many referrals you're getting from where and at what time, and just keep track of that so you know where it's worth doing this, okay? Now, on the directory, we don't just want to make any sort of directory listing. We want to be on the directories that are popular. sorry, there's an ambulance going by. We want to be on Psychology Today, Alma, maybe ZocDoc, although I have some problems with them right now. Right? And number one, that's because there's a lot of people searching for a therapist on those directories. Let me pause while this ambulance goes away. Now, the other important thing is, wow, it's back. The other important thing is we want the directory to be written well, okay? Now, a lot of people will call that, what do they call that? Copy, right? So we want our copy to be written well. Some people will say we want it to be written towards the client, right? We want it to speak to their issue and that kind of thing. The point is, on our directories, we want to be listed. We want to have good copy, and we want it to, you know, engage clients. So that's number one, but we all know that we're doing that. So what are some of our other strategies? So right now, we're also running paid ads, right? So we'll call this paid ads. This is a category. What kind of paid ads are we currently running? We are actually running meta ads, Facebook, and we were just running Google, but we paused those for a moment, okay? So we're currently running paid ads. What are paid ads? They are, simply put, you pay Meta or you pay Google for you to place an ad on the, you know, on what I was gonna say on the website, but Google's a website, right? So if you do a Google ad and you pay for an ad, this is a really simplified version. I have another video about Google ads that you can check out. I'll leave the description down below. But essentially, you're paying Google to put an ad on the top spot when someone searches for a keyword, okay? And that is really good because we can end up on the top results of Google very, very quickly. For Facebook, it's a little bit different. You are paying Facebook to put your ad, it's typically a photo or an image or the same thing, or a video in front of people who may be interested. People on Facebook are not searching for things typically, right? But your ad will be displayed there. Nonetheless, we are paying Google, we're paying Meta to put our ads in front of people. Now, this is really important. Now, a lot of times therapists will try Google ads, right? And they won't go very well. So they'll end up spending a lot of money and they won't get any leads from it and it doesn't work. And then a lot of people will actually not try Meta ads because they write it off because of different reasons. Surprisingly, Meta ads or Facebook ads can work really, really well if done correct. We are currently running Meta ads and it's working really well. Not just for right away conversions, right? Not many people on Facebook urgently seeking out a therapist. That being said, when we run a Meta ad, not only do we get more conversions, but we also do get greater word of mouth or greater reach. We end up getting more calls from people who have heard about our practice. And I don't know exactly where they heard, but there's a correlation between running a Meta ad and more people reaching out. So Meta ads can be really, really helpful. Not to mention, they are a lot cheaper than Google ads. All that being said, both Google and Meta are a very good source for referrals. You just don't want to do it incorrectly. Now, I don't want to scare you. I'm also not trying to say you need to pay someone to do it, right? But you do at least need to learn how to do both of these things. I'm happy to teach you and tell you a little bit more, but this is one strategy for lead generation for us, okay? What else are we doing? You can kind of put this in a directory listing, but I like to keep it separate. We're doing Google My Business, okay? Google My Business is free. If you're able to get listed, you have the right address, you have an address. Again, I have another video all about this you can check out. If you can get a Google My Business profile, you absolutely want it. Think about when you are going to a restaurant or you're searching for somewhere to eat, you're clicking on the people that are showing up on the maps and the people with reviews, right? At the very least, they need to be on the map, or else how do you even know that restaurant exists? So it's no different for a therapy practice. If someone is searching for anxiety therapy or a therapist near them and you don't show up, we need to be a part of that party, right? So you definitely want to get signed up for Google My Business, not to mention it's free. So we're using this and we have to update it. It doesn't require a ton of work, but you do want to write it well and you also want to update it frequently, okay? Doesn't take that much time. So these are some of our strategies. We have a couple more. We're also going with the the fanciest word of mouth, right? Or we can call this networking, right? Word of mouth, networking. And I'm not talking about going to primary care doctors and handing out business cards. What I'm talking about is every so often, every week, every couple of weeks, I'm on the different forums, Facebook or whatever, responding to ISO requests, right? So I'm responding to different, people will say we're in search of a therapist, and I will put our website there if we think that we're a good fit. Now, again, this is not for immediate conversions, but this gets your practice out there. And over time, this exposure will be effective. I can guarantee that. I have definitely had people call me months after, posting on a Facebook forum or something. Oh, my therapist told me about you, or somewhere. And it was definitely from responding to these ISO requests. I wouldn't do this like every single day. It's not going to be our primary strategy, but absolutely spending time responding to ISO requests that's in search of, and that would be really, really helpful. And if you have time, you can certainly reach out to different providers and things like that. But the ISO requests, although not glamorous, it does work, and I'm always a proponent. Now, if we couple that with good landing pages and service pages, which I should make a whole video about that. But for now, if we couple that with, let's say, I hope I'm not losing you. When we make a website, we want to have different pages for our different specialties. So for example, in our practice, we do DBT. We have a page on our website dedicated to DBT. Now, if I was to do networking or ISO and I'm reaching out to people who are searching for a DBT therapist, I'm not sending them my homepage. I'm sending them my service page, which speaks directly to DBT. This makes the word of mouth much stronger, and it kind of couples it with a website or a proper website construction. Okay, so we have that. That leads me into our other strategy, which is SEO. Now, I'll be honest, we don't spend that much time on SEO. We do work on it, but it is more of a long-term strategy. We are not doing that every single day, but our SEO is something we consider, right? And it's helpful. Now, SEO is going to it's going to kind of blend in with Google My Business. Directories have a little bit of an impact on your SEO, right? But SEO, we can think about, some people think about blogging or optimizing our website. So we are doing that, but it's not our highest priority strategy, okay? And then we have a very small social media presence. So this varies from practice to practice, but in our practice, we have a YouTube channel. We haven't updated it in a while. We have Instagram, we have Facebook. We are not updating it, we're not on there all the time, but I am trying to post somewhat regularly for the clinical practice. Again, a very small presence there, and we're not entirely active there. We could definitely improve, but these are our current strategies that we are doing at the moment. The biggest ones are going to be directories, paid ads, Google My Business, those three. And then after that, word of mouth. And then the last two, SEO and social media. Now, it's hard for me to parse out SEO from Google Ads or word of mouth. Sometimes people are finding us via the website and things like that. But the ones we're focusing on the most currently are these three, right? They're the ones getting us the most referrals, right? And so that's really good. So this is called lead generation, and you can see we have a lot of areas where we can do work, a lot of things we can implement, a lot of strategies. We don't have to be at the mercy of directories. Okay, so what's next? This is just step one, right? Lead generation is step one. Next is going to be lead. Well, we can call this all sorts of things. Let's call it. Let's call it lead management. Making that up right now. So what happens when a client or a potential client reaches out to our practice? What are we going to do? A lot of people they go to an inbox or a phone number. We actually have people. So let's say here we have our different channels of marketing, social media, Google My Business, ads. You get the point. Psychology Today, right? All of them are going to get funneled into our CRM, okay? You can think about a CRM as an EHR for your marketing, right? For your leads. We're not necessarily doing clinical documentation in here, but we are collecting lead information. So someone fills out a Google ad, right? Automatically, they end up in our CRM. We can call them, we can email them and follow up. Same thing goes with, Psychology Today, we input the client into the CRM. We can now follow up with emails, text, and things like that. I actually want to show you this CRM. Let me go ahead and see if I can get rid of this, and boom, here we are. So this is the current CRM we're using. This is a test account. This is the pipeline. So if a client comes into our CRM, they're going to end up in our pipeline. Now you can see here we have a couple different options. So let's say Matt reached out via Google Ads. We know that he contacted practice. And let's say we called him and we're waiting for a call back. We can move him to pending. Oh, Matt scheduled a free consult. Perfect. We can go ahead and switch him over there. And we can move him up and down this pipeline as needed. And you can see how organized this is. We know exactly who to reach out to, how to reach out, where they're at in the stage, and that changes how we communicate. What else can we do? We can email and text Matt. We can even call Matt right from this platform. So let's say Matt scheduled a free consult, but he didn't show up. Maybe we follow up a week later or a couple days later and we say, hey, Matt, we noticed you didn't show up. Are you still interested? Do you know how many times a lead says, you know what, I actually got really busy. I totally forgot. I'm still interested. Let's book another time. A lot of therapists just let those go. They fall right through the cracks. But in our CRM here, no one is falling through the cracks. We can follow up. We can send emails and text. So you can see how powerful that is. And like I said before, all of our leads, right, are going right into our CRM. Most of the time, this is an automated process. Occasionally, we have to do a manual input, but not a big deal. They all end up in the CRM for really, really good follow-up, okay? Now, this has been game-changing for us. Now, I would highly recommend that you have some sort of CRM, whether it be the one we're using. If you're interested in that, we can give you access to it. I can talk to you more about it. Link down below. Let's set up a call. Let's talk about it. At the basic level, you can use something like Excel to keep track of these things, right? But you want to be keeping track. You want to create some sort of pipeline, okay? Now, what happens after we're managing our leads? You know, our goal is to hopefully get them to schedule a free consult or book an intake with us, whatever one you do in your practice. Now, when it comes to the consultation call, I have a video all about this, which I'll leave a link down below again in the description. But this is also where, you know, some people are doing great marketing. They're generating leads, they're getting referrals, but then their consult call, they fall short. One major thing I see therapists doing or what they're describing, they're saying that they struggle with imposter syndrome on the call. They don't want to sound too salesy. They don't want to brag. We don't need to do any of that. But I do consistently see therapists selling themselves short, right? This is not universal, but this is what I see a lot of therapists doing. So they'll end up maybe talking themselves down a little bit, or, you know, not clearly explaining what they do or their specialty. And my recommendation for you is to come up with a script, right? Now, we'll use the script as talking points, but we can eventually come away from the script. But in the script, there's a couple things we want to have, a couple sections. One, we obviously want to do our clinical due diligence, right? So do the assessments you need to do the clinical assessment. You know what you need to do as a clinician. Number two, you want to be really clear about what you do and what you don't do. What are your specialties? What do you work with? You know, what do you not work with? And you want to be able to say that and articulate it. You can practice saying it. You can write it out, see how it sounds, right? You want to ask the client why they're coming to you, and you want to kind of listen and hear, and does it match what you do? But that part about sharing what you do and what you don't do is really important. This is where a lot of the clinicians go wrong, right? They start talking themselves down, or they don't say enough. And we're not there to, you know, we don't have to go and tell everyone where we went to school, what our grades were, but you want to be another motorcycle. You want to be really clear, and it's really simple, really clear about what you do, what you don't do, right? What is your specialty? What is your area of focus? And we don't have to we're not there to impress the client, right? We're not there to prove anything. We're just there to be clear about what we do and what we don't do. And that will lead to a very good and strong phone consultation, okay? And then finally, what happens after we have that phone consultation, hopefully they become clients. If they don't, that's okay. We're not here to, you know, get everyone to be a client. That's not what we're doing here. Then comes the clinical care, right? And you are a clinician. You know how to do that. That is the part you are the best at. That's it for this video. I hope you found this video helpful. Our strategies are always changing. We're always working on different things. I hope that at the very least, you know more now than you did before, and you're more excited about private practice than you were before. If you have any questions, you want to set up a free consult call with me, I'm happy to help. I work with therapists around this stuff all the time. There's a link down below, totally free call. We'll talk a bit about what you're looking for, how I might be able to help. All right, other than that, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video.